Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the chapter 17, e-commerce security system. So we all know that e-commerce is an electronic commerce which fully deals with internet and online transactions. So there, how the data are secure. So what are all the predefined or predefined set of protocols are used for securing those transaction and data. So all these we are going to discuss in this chapter as a e-commerce security systems. So in this chapter we are going to discuss first the basics of e-commerce security system. So what is an e-commerce security? So how the systems are developed? So what are all the various types of e-commerce threats available? So how what are all the threats? How the data will be theft by the hackers? So how to protect those data? So and dimensions of e-commerce security. So in which are all the sectors these security plays a role in e-commerce. So and the last one is security technologies in e-commerce transaction. So what are all the technologies, security based technologies used in each and every e-commerce transaction, that is online transactions? How to protect those data? What are all the technologies used? So all these things we are going to discuss in this chapter. So first one is, what is an e-commerce security? So with the huge development, huge growth in the internet and online transactions, so each and every business, starting from the small business to large business, they consider the internet and the online transaction as a new business model. So they have to adapt for the new business model, and they have to implement their business with the help of the internet, and also they have to use the online transaction because these online transactions are accepted by the users. Here users are the public. So the public, they have accepted what the e-commerce transaction uses. The mainly the e-commerce transaction use the network resources. Since they felt that the e-commerce transaction, these online transaction made more easy for their purchase or for the transaction, online transaction. So they felt that it is more convenient for buying the goods and services through online and made the transaction through online. So for this, the main thing which attracted them, the user, is the security. The security of transaction is more attracted by the users. So since the every data and the information that are available in the online is fully open and all the resources are shared, so for this they mainly consider the security as a huge threat. Once the business security and the network security is fulfilled the customer needs, and they trust that these transactions are very clear and highly secured, then they easily get attracted for those online transaction services. So like this e-commerce security plays a major role in an online transaction. Next one is definition. So already we have told that security is a critical factor and is a major issue in an online transaction. So all the e-business will face the security issue. So for solving the security problems in transaction is the main aim for the development of the e-business. For any e-business, the main aim is to ensure that their transaction is highly secure. Then only the public, that is the user, will get attracted and will feel the convenient and trust the transactions or the e-commerce security. Next one, we are going to see the types of e-commerce threats. So why we need to know what are all the threats available? The first and main reason is, only by knowing the possible threats available, we can easily frame the protocols. So in which are all the way the threat can occur to an e-commerce transaction. So first we have to answer this question. So identifying the possible threats available for an e-commerce transaction, we can easily frame the protocols for the security purpose. And protocols is nothing but a predefined set of rules and regulations, and to secure the transaction is a guidelines, we can say. So only by knowing the threats we can easily frame those protocols. And the e-commerce security threats can be done either accidentally or intentionally. So accidentally in the sense it may be because of the any network issues or any caused by the human error. And whereas intentional in the sense the those who mainly want to harm the uh, potential threat of an e-commerce, the like hackers, they do uh, these kind of e-commerce threats or the data theft intentionally. So those who have capable of the technology, they do the harm for the e-commerce transactions. And now let us see what are all the possible data threats, that is security threats available. The first one and the first main thing is information leakage. The leakage of the company's secrets is done in two ways. One in that is the content of the transaction between the supplier, that is the service provider, and the customer is stolen by the third party. So that is the first way of information leakage. And the second one is the documents provided by the service provider or the vendor, the merchant, to the customer. So these are the two ways where the information leakage occurs. And the stealing of the online documents and on the or the user data or user personal information, transaction details, all these is done. The first one is the information leakage, and next one is the tampering. The second one, second security threat is tampering. Tampering is nothing but the e-commerce has the problem of authenticity, that is verification of the sender, that is verification of the authenticity of the sender or the receiver, and also the integrity of the business information, because the informations are shared not as a one-to-one contact. It may travel from two or more network resources. In this case, any hackers can easily grasp the data transmitted over the network. It can be falsified in the middle, so in the middle of the transaction. So since it travels from one or more network resources, the hackers may easily grasp the data over the network in the middle way. So with the help of various technology what they have uh, gathered, and then they sent a different document or a different or a copy of the document, original document, to the other end, to the destination. So this destroys the authenticity and the integrity of the data. That is the second one. And the third one is the payment frauds. So payment frauds have many, like friendly fraud, when a customer demands for false reclaim or a refund. So they won't get they won't pay the original amount, but they ask for a refund or reclaim, that is a falsified reclaim or a refund. And clean fraud, the second type is clean fraud, when a stolen credit card is used to make a purchase. So that is a clean fraud. They just use the security pin of the credit card for the stolen credit card, and they use for a purchase. And triangulation fraud, it is a fake online shop offering the cheapest price and collect the credit card data, and thereby they use the credit card information for another purchase or a misuse. They misuse the credit card details. So these are the three types of payment frauds available. And the fourth one is the malicious code threats. So within the e-commerce website, there are so many multiple vulnerable areas, that is so many hidden areas that can serve as an intrusion point for a hacker. So even even a single dot can be used by the hacker for gathering the data, user data. Once the information is clicked or the content is shared, automatically the user data will be used by the hackers. So cross site scripting or SQL injection, so all these technologies are misused for hacking the data. So and this malicious code threats is then uh, mainly used in the black markets. And fraud is then committed to extract the greatest valuable possible through the e-commerce transactions or the ATM withdrawals. So in all these cases, these malicious code threats available. Say for example, unwanted message or a blank message will will be sent to a user. So once the message gets opened, automatically the phone or the system what they are using will be hacked by the hackers. So like that, this is an example. Like that, there are various types of codes available. They can easily use the malicious code for these thefting purpose, data thefting purpose. And the next one is distributed denial of service, that is DDoS attacks. That is, it is a process of taking down an e-commerce site by sending continuous request to the server. So when they send lakhs of requests to the server, automatically the server gets down. On that time, the data will be theft by the hackers. So this attack will be conducted from numerous unidentified computers. They use enormous number of computers for this using the botnet. They use the botnet as it is a technology. They use this botnet for sending enormous requests to a server and making the server down and collecting the or gathering the user data illegally. And the sixth one is cyber squatting. So cyber squatting is the illegal practice of registering an internet domain name, so which is not wanted by another person, an intention to sell it later for a profit. So say for example, a website so and so called .com will be available there. So they create a duplicate name of that website. So later they intentionally claim for the copyrights. So they have already created the same name, same domain name, and the other person is using my name. So like that they create and intentionally they sell it later for a profit. And the next one is it involves for registering of popular trademarks and trade names as a domain name before their particular company do. So like that, this cyber squatters you misuse the trade names, that is the company names or the domain names. Thereby they earn money illegally. And the typo piracy, the last one is a variant of cyber squatting, where some fake websites try to take advantage of the user's common typographical errors in a typing website. Say for example, rather typing Google GOOGLE, they create a website GOGLE, like that. So once in case the user types by mistakenly this name, automatically redirects to the another unwanted website. From there the user's data will be easily gathered, will be easily fetched. So this is a typo piracy error. So these are all the various types of security threats available. So by understanding all these possible threats, the e-commerce security protocols will be framed. So then only the transactions or the user personal information will be highly secured. Next one we are going to see is the dimensions of e-commerce security. So we have already told repeatedly that the main issue, that is the most critical factor for an e-business or an e-commerce transaction, is the security. So for ensuring the security of e-commerce, various activities to be overcome, and the various elements, the security elements involved in e-commerce transactions are: first one is the authenticity. So first we need to confirm the genuineness of the data shared. So we have to confirm whether the data is shared from a genuine person or not. And the second one is the availability. So prevention against the data delay, or in case if the data is removed, so we need to check whether the data is currently available in the source location. So in case if any loss of data in the source location, means we need to check whether the data is transferred from various network resources or not. So the data may transferred from various intermediate resources. So for that purpose, we need to check the data availability in the source location. And the third one is completeness. So and the third one is the completeness. So we have to check whether all the business informations are from a single source location. That is a unified of all business information. And the next one is confidentiality. So protecting all the data against the unauthorized disclosure. If any new user wants to access the information means the data is to be protected from the unauthorized disclosure. So no new user or unknown user can access the data. So like that the data is to be protected. Next one is the effectiveness. So effective handling of the hardware, software and the data. So all the hardware and software is to be up to date for avoiding the security issues. And the integrity. So all the data must be integrated in a single place for avoiding the data alteration or modification. So once the data is integrated in a single place means we can easily identify whether the data is modified or not. In case if the data is spreaded in two or more places or in many places means if the in case if the data is altered or modified, it cannot be easily identified. So for that integration is more important. And non-repudiation. So non-repudiation is nothing but is prevention against the violation agreement after the deal. Once the if any agreement is made, it should not be broken after the deal. So we have to prevent the violation agreement after the deal. And the next one is the privacy. So preventing the customer's personal information, it is called personal identification information. It is to be prevented by the users or the company service providers, so for avoiding any data theft. And the next one is reliability. So the reliable identification of the individuals or any business must be provided. So then only the once the reliability is more, automatically the security or the trust will get increased. And the last one is the reviewability. So reviewability is nothing but capability of monitoring the activities or to track the information or to track the transactions. So that is reviewability. So these are the various dimensions of the e-commerce security available. And the next topic we are going to see is the security technologies in e-commerce transaction. So what all the various security technologies is used, because there are a large amount of confidential informations are involved in this e-commerce activity or the e-commerce transaction, and those data must be transmitted through a safe and secure network. So more convenient security technologies are required, and more confidential or highly secured technologies are required to ensure the security of e-commerce transactions. So currently there are three more confidential or highly secured technologies in e-commerce transactions are: the first one is encryption technology, authentication technology, and the third one is authentication protocols. So we will see one by one in detail, so how they are used in the security of the e-commerce transactions. So the first one is the encryption technology. The word encryption. So encryption is nothing but they are going to transmit the data, the exact original data, into an unreadable form, so that they hide the original data behind that unreadable format. So like that, this is a basic concept of the encryption, the term encryption. So now let us see how the encryption technology is mainly used. So encryption technology is the most effective and the common way for securing the information. So for information security protection, the most common technique and the most effective technique is the encryption technology. So it is defined as a converting the plain text. So what I told, that is the original data, that is a plain text, into a meaningless cipher text. So cipher text here is the unreadable form. So using the encryption algorithm which ensures the confidentiality of the data. So once the data is hidden, automatically it cannot be viewed unless we use the keys for opening the or decrypting the exact data again. So the encryption or the decryption process is mainly use a key, that is to encrypt, or key is nothing but a code value, a unique code to encrypt or decrypt the data. At present, currently we use two encryption technology. One is the symmetric key encryption and the second one is the asymmetric key encryption. So these are the two common encryption system currently we are using. So first one is the symmetric key encryption. So symmetric key encryption is nothing but the same key, that is the same code is used for both encryption as well as the decryption. So for converting the plain text into a ciphertext, we use a unique code, and the same unique code is used again for decryption. So decryption is nothing but converting the ciphertext to plain text. So this is how the you can able to see the image. The first, the sender, the plain text is encrypted with the help of a secret key, shared secret key. That is here secret key is nothing but a code. They have given a just a key image, but it is not a key, it is just a code. And the ciphertext is again decrypted and it is sent to the recipient or the receiver. So the same unique code or the key is used for both encryption and decryption. And in asymmetric key encryption, automatically different keys are used for encryption and decryption. So this is the difference, first one. And the second one is speed of the encryption or decryption is very fast when compared to the asymmetric key encryption, because we use a single key for converting the encryption and decryption process, and this reduces the time. And here in asymmetric, the speed of the encryption and decryption is comparatively low, since it holds two separate keys for both encryption and decryption process. It may take some time. And the third one is the plain text and ciphertext are of the same size. And here in asymmetric key, the size of the ciphertext is always greater than the plain text, that is asymmetric in asymmetric key encryption. And the fourth one is what are all the various algorithms they have used. The various algorithm used, that is advanced encryption standard, and like that RC4. There are various encryption protocols used, both the symmetric and asymmetric key encryption. And the fifth one is the it provides confidentiality. So here it also in asymmetric, also in addition to the confidentiality, it provides authenticity and non-repudiation. So non-repudiation, we have seen prevention against the violation agreement after the deal. So that is a non-repudiation. So all these is done with the help of the asymmetric key encryption. And the last one is the number of key used. It automatically grows the exponentially with the number of users. So in case of 100 users accessing a single document, it may be hold the 100 keys, like that. So automatically the number of key used grows automatically when the number of users increases. And in asymmetric key encryption, the number of keys used grows linearly with the number of users. So that is the difference here. So number of key use grows, that is get increased exponentially in symmetric. Exponentially is nothing but it gets doubled, whereas here in asymmetric linearly, automatically. In case if 5 users they are you accessing a document, means automatically 5 keys, different keys will be there in asymmetric. And in case of symmetric, in case of 3 users they are accessing, means automatically it 6 keys will be generated, like that. This is the last difference between the symmetric key encryption and the asymmetric key encryption. And the second encryption system, that is authentication, technology. The main role of the security certification is to ensure the authenticity, integrity and the non-repudiation. So, and this authentication technology can be done with the help of the two concepts, that is the digital signature and the digital certificate. So, first one is a digital signature. So, it is a mechanism, it is a concept that is mainly used to verify that a particular document, particular digital document or a message or a transaction is authentic. So, for that purpose, for confirming the authenticity of a particular document, a digital document or a message or a transaction, the digital signature is used. Whereas on the other hand, the digital certificate is a file, is a computer file which officially approves the relation between the holder of the certificate and a particular public key. So, it just verifies, it just authenticate the relation between the holder of the certificate. So, holder of the digital certificate and the related public key. So, this is a digital certificate, and second one is a digital signature is mainly used to verify the trustworthiness of the data that is sent, that is transferred, or the transaction that occurs. So, it just verifies the trustworthiness of the transaction or the data. And here in digital certificate is used to verify the trustworthiness of the sender itself. First in a signature it checks the trustworthiness of the data, whereas here it verifies the trustworthiness of the sender. And the third one is digital signature is to ensure the data remain secure from the starting point where it was issued and it was not modified by the third party. So, this main thing is the data is started from the source location and it is transferred to the destination. It confirms that this digital signature confirms that the data is transferred from the source location only, from the sender only. It doesn't get modified by the third party intermediately. And the digital certificate binds the digital signature to an entity. So, this is a third difference. And the uh, fourth one is it provides authentication, non-repudiation and the integrity. And here in digital certificate provides authentication and security. So, these are all the various major role of the digital signature and the certificate. And the fifth one is digital signature is created by the DSS algorithm, and it uses SHA-1 or SHA-2 algorithms. So, SHA-1, and there are various algorithms used by the digital signature and also the digital certificate. And here it uses the principles of public key cryptography standards, that is PKCS, and various formats are used. So, these are the two difference. And the last one is the document is encrypted at the sending end and decrypted at the receiving end using the asymmetric keys. So, here the data will be encrypted with the one set of key, and whereas in the receiving end the data will be decrypted with another new key, that is the asymmetric key encryption. Here in digital certificate it consists of the certificate's owner name and the public key which he holds, and the expiration date of the certificate, and the certificate authority name who authorized the certificate, and the certificate authority's digital signature. So, these are all the data will be available in the digital certificate. And here in digital signature it holds the asymmetric keys, two various keys for encrypting and also for decrypting. So, this is about the digital signature and the digital certificate. And the third encryption system is authentication protocols. So, we have already told that protocol is a predefined set of rules and regulations, and here two authentication protocols are mainly used in e-commerce, that is a secure electronic transaction, that is SET, and secure socket layer, SSL. So, these are the two main protocols that are used widely here in e-commerce security. And first we see about the secure electronic transaction. So, secure electronic transaction set is mainly a security protocol for electronic payments which are done using the credit cards and mainly via internet. So that is the main thing. Using internet, the payment which are done by credit card will follow this secure electronic transaction protocols. So it was mainly developed by the companies Visa and the Mastercard, the credit card companies. And it was developed with the help of the GTE company and IBM, Microsoft, and even the Netscape. So all these gathered together and they developed this protocol. And the implementation of this secure electronic transaction is mainly based on the digital signature and the transmitted data encryption with both asymmetric key as well as the symmetric encryption algorithm. So this is the main thing. Here the secure electronic transaction use dual signature to ensure the privacy. So dual signature both from the sender and also by the receiver. So it checks the dual signature to ensure the privacy. That is the main aim, that is the main advantage of the secure electronic transaction. So here the secure electronic transaction involves, in this secure electronic transaction purchase or in the transaction, three participants are involved. First one is the customer, the seller, and the payment gateway. The payment gateway is nothing but the intermediate where the bank and the sender or the customer get tied up, where the data transaction or the user data will get transmitted with high security. So here the customer shares the order information with the seller but not with the payment gateway. Also the customer shares the payment information only with the payment gateway, not with the seller. So these are the two things shared by the customer. One thing is he shares the information to the seller, not to the payment gateway. And second thing is he shares the payment information to the payment gateway, not to the seller. So this is how the transactions are separated. So based on this, this protocol works, so that the credit card number will not be known to the seller. So it is known to the payment gateway, that is the bank or the trusted parties or the trusted users, like that. So it is highly secured. And the SET protocol, this secure electronic transaction protocol, first guarantees the security of online shopping using the credit cards on the open network. And also the advantages, it ensures the integrity of transaction data and also the non-repudiation of the transaction. So these are the two main thing it ensures as it is advantages. And also it is internationally recognized standard for credit card online transaction. So here some of the features given for the secure electronic transaction. First one is it uses public key encryption and the private key encryption for data confidentiality. So already we have told it uses dual signature. And next one is use information digest technology to ensure the integrity information. So it integrates all the information, user information for a particular transaction in a common place. And third one is dual signature technology to ensure the identity of both the parties in the transaction, both the parties here, the sender and the receiver, that is the customer and the service provider.